Dax Shepard has made some creepy comments about his kids, recently telling his 11-year-old daughter that he's willing to freeze her eggs so that she could get pregnant between the ages of 35 and 45. Something an 11-year-old should not be worried about right now. It really stems from KRISTEN and Dax's bizarre relationship that constantly has a theme of making light of domestic violence. KRISTEN Bell has oddly accepted Dax's disrespectful behavior and continues to enable his harassment of others. This is a deep dive on Dax Shepard, so let's get into it.
I was very offended. And then I hit her several times.
And then I got beat up, and guess what? I never opened my mouth again.
In this video, I wanted to do a deep dive on Dax Shepard and how problematic he is. I still don't understand why KRISTEN Bell is even with this man. I just don't understand why these two are even together, especially with headlines like this, which was published this year, 2026. KRISTEN Bell and Dax Shepard are allegedly turning away friends with their spats. Quote, they argue all the time, end quote.
And then I hit her several times.
I don't know why Dax finds domestic violence so funny. It reminds me of their anniversary post when KRISTEN wrote a caption where she joked about, well, I hope joked, about how Dax has told her in the past that he could kill her. So it's not even that they joke about these things. Their insider friends reveal that they are relentlessly bickering at each other. Quote, especially when you visit them at their home, they have no problem letting it all out. Sure, this humanizes them, but they argue all the time. It's a form of oversharing, and it's not for everybody. Fans also resurfaced past troubling behavior on Reddit, with one asking, remember during COVID when KRISTEN recorded a multi-story post of a fight that they were having?
I'm just gonna document all of it now. Don't explain it to me. I know why people use Q-tips.
First of all, I did not think you were coming in here.
Yeah.
Secondly, there's so many we have to go through.
Oh, so you were just trying to use them up? If I'm going to get through these things, let's just get through them.
Let's start now.
It's not because you might have earwax.
I'm afraid to even have them out of the sleeve. They're so sharp. I can cut all your hair off in 5 seconds right now if I want. And I'm ambidextrous, as you know. I'm left-handed, but throw with my right hand. Toothpaste purchasing.
How could I make fun of...
That's one of your big grievances against me.
Well, yeah, it's just because, like, we don't need to buy 40 toothpaste at a time. We could just buy, like, 2 at a time.
And it is bizarre how they will go and tell the world about their problems.
Having someone I feel that like is very opposite from me is certainly something that I feel. I feel like my real life husband and I are opposites attract. You know, I feel like always applies. But that doesn't mean we couldn't make it work or didn't want to make it work. It just meant we did have to have a lot of patience for each other to figure out what the compromises would be. And a general understanding that we're probably going to have different viewpoints on almost everything. And figure out a respectful way to have those discussions.
Respect. Okay, KRISTEN. Well, honestly, I feel bad for KRISTEN, especially with all the people in her life who are constantly asking her, why did you marry this man? I did do a video about KRISTEN and Dax's toxic relationship, but I wanted to do a deeper dive on Dax and his problematic history, which also includes KRISTEN. But you want to talk about respect, KRISTEN? Why has recently Dax been so obsessed with Sabrina Carpenter? Remember, he's 51, she's 26. SNL star Marcello was on the podcast, and they were speaking about Sabrina Carpenter. Dax admitted that he's obsessed with her thanks to his daughter, then telling his guest that he should go and date Sabrina.
Now, if I'm you, again, and I'm 28, I'm going to try to date her with all my might. Are you not trying your hardest to marry her?
I'm in a relationship.
You
now.
are?
Yeah, I'm in a relationship with a Dominican girl. She's an architect.
Oh, an architect.
She's unreal. She went to Yale. She's
Wow.
She's unreal.
Okay, so
yeah, but
all right.
But Sabrina's awesome.
I don't know if Dax is like allergic to Google, because every time he has a guest onto his podcast, he knows nothing about them. Do you know how weird you have to be to say things like this to real people, especially ones half your age and already in public relationships? Dax, you'll never beat the weirdo allegations. And another person said that he's being the creepy uncle again. In September 2025, Dax had another podcast episode where he made a bizarre comment about his marriage with KRISTEN. He said, quote, I say this all the time. If KRISTEN and I ever split up, I would only describe this as an enormously successful relationship. Like, we loved each other to death, we had these 2 beautiful children, and this great time together. Kind of weird that he's speaking about his relationship almost like it's already over or out, on his way out the door. Honestly, if KRISTEN was smart, she would get out of there.
I think this recent clip of Dax and KRISTEN is the perfect example of weaponized insecurity. It starts when Dax asks Cher this.
Who would you like to see KRISTEN with? If you got to pick from every available bachelor, I know you think she could be better, and I don't disagree. Who would be your pick?
So Dax is doing some vulnerability fishing here, right? He's not actually curious, he's setting a trap. He's forcing Cher into a corner where she either has to lie to be nice or tell a truth that he can then use to make KRISTEN comfort him later. KRISTEN does a lot of comforting in this podcast, by the way, so the system is definitely working for Dax. And KRISTEN looks exhausted. Look at her.
Brad Pitt, maybe?
Self-deprecating right now. You've never thought about that.
She immediately jumps in to buffer the blow. She's explaining his joke. She's answering for Cher. She's basically his social PR manager. In therapy, we call this the hero-patient contract. He gets to be messy, and she has to be the saint who saves him from himself. It looks loving on the surface, I guess, but it's a massive burden on her nervous system. Then he drops this little insecure gem.
I don't have the talent of either of you guys.
By being the least person in the room, he's actually the one in control. He's taking up all the emotional oxygen, making sure that the entire conversation revolves around his perceived unworthiness. And this works for him because KRISTEN is wired to be his emotional stabilizer.
Maybe KRISTEN is as equally checked out as Dax is. She said while on The View, "I'm attracted to other guys because some other guys are very handsome, but me being attracted to another man, I know because I'm experiencing it. It has nothing to do with my husband," which kind of reminds me of a quote that she said that regarded cheating, where it seems like she doesn't even care if that were to happen. Which, if you saw my past video where we did a deep dive on their relationship, you would see that that is so different from like KRISTEN like 15 years ago when she was so desperate for Dax and so jealous and insecure. Nowadays, it's like she's defeated and accepted that like if she's going to be with this man, cheating is probably going to happen.
When Kristen Bell was asked about cheating, she said, kind of who cares, to be honest. I also know we're monkeys. We're both attracted to other people. We're married. We're not dead. Now, this didn't sit well with a lot of married couples.
This person on Reddit wrote, "Anyone weirded out by Dax's enthusiasm for KRISTEN with other men? It definitely comes up in an uncomfortable amount, and not just on the podcast either. He did it again with William Jackson Harper in a very inorganic way. William was just talking about his audition, and Dax goes on and on about how he wanted to see Chitty make out with her on every show. As a joke, it's super weak, but the fact that he keeps raising it. Also, William says that KRISTEN had mentioned Dax scolding her for not using tongue in scenes. Like, why is he overcompensating for jealousy, or is he telegraphing some kind of kink? Like, does he like watching KRISTEN with other men? While I'm at this, I'm not a fan of his objectifying other dudes either. It's intense with Brad Pitt, but he does it to other guys too. I think it was Shawn Mendes or Rupert Grint in episodes that I could not finish because it was so off-putting. I think it makes him seem like he's self-secure, but it does the opposite in my opinion." This person replied that I think that Dax likes to be in control of something that he has no control over, which is very human of him. Edit to add, I agree though, it's very cringy when he won't shut up about it. I view it as a healthy way of seeing things. He understands that it's their job to kiss other people. They both seem very comfortable in their marriage, and jealousy seems to be something they've both worked on. I used to think that it was because he was just that secure in his relationship, but at this point it makes me think the opposite. Hearing it so much and so often, coupled with the way that he sexualizes literally everyone and anything, makes me think he's actually deeply insecure. He acts this way to compensate or to cover up that insecurity, but it really comes across cringe.
I'm curious, does he mind? You have your share of sex scenes on this show. They're very PG, but does Dax mind when you have a sex scene?
No. My husband likes every type of relationship on the planet that has positive energy behind it. So like he likes seeing lovers, he likes it when I fall in love on screen in front of him, and oftentimes, whether it's R-rated stuff I've done or I'm kissing Cheaty, if he's watching it by himself and I'm in the kitchen, I'll hear him go, "Honey, get some!" He's really a great wingman. Yeah.
What a lovely philosophy to have.
Maybe you could explain away Dax Shepard's bizarre behavior because of his addiction, which he's been open about. He would get sober for movies, but then fall back into a hole as soon as he's done. He said during one of his in-between times, like between movies, he went on to a trip to Hawaii where they did all kind of dangerous things, including smoking meth. and, not mathematics. He said that I was so physically sick from that trip in Hawaii that he wouldn't be able to get onto the plane unless he had 6 or 7 drinks. He said, so I'm at the bar and I'm pounding Jack and diets, and there's a mirror next to me, and I'm paranoid that someone from AA is going to see me because I had been sober before. So I'm like tucked into the corner of this bar, and I'm so afraid someone's going to see me. He said I was about to start a movie and make the most amount of money I've ever made. People in Hawaii recognized me. I'm famous. I have every single thing I ever wanted, and I'm at my lowest point emotionally, and something has to be very broken about that. It sounds like he's never really felt deserving of the success that he's had, and it kind of has been hand in hand with his addiction struggles, so I can kind of see why he's the way he is. Does not give him an excuse to go and joke about, like, his wife being killed or his wife killing him. Like, at one point he was trying to, like, set up his wife to, like, be accused of, like, murdering him, so if he ever died, she would be the one responsible.
So my husband is a bit of a jokester and once searched on my phone how to get away with murdering my husband.
Yes.
If he ends up dead, how much trouble do you think I'm in?
Well, you're in trouble anyway for even thinking about it. But
No, he Googled it from my phone.
that doesn't matter. Means
I wasn't thinking about it until he Googled it.
I know. Anything that all happens to him, it's your phone.
That's
Doesn't say who Googled it.
That's why he said, I'm
Yeah.
going to corner you. He
Mhm.
said, good luck. And then he typed it. And then I know now it's traceable.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. You do know about antifreeze, right?
Of course I do.
I really don't understand the point of these two, like, joking about unaliving each other. This article was published in 2021, but they report that last year, at the time of this reporting, Dax revealed that he had relapsed after 16 years of sobriety. He revealed in his podcast that he was using painkillers following a motorcycle accident. On the podcast, Dax said that he began purchasing his own pills after breaking his hand in the ATV accident and suffering multiple injuries during a separate motorcycle accident last year. Damn. Sounds like he needs to get into a car and not an ATV or a motorcycle. But he admitted that he began lying to people around him, which he said helped him realize that he needed to quit.
My husband was a drug addict. He lived in his car for a while. Look, all experiences, you never know where they're going to lead. Like, my husband and I say this all the time. When you're trying to, like, perfect their childhood or make sure they become a doctor or whatever your crazy idea is, I was a goody-goody. I went early admission to NYU. I studied theater. I got a degree in music. I started working on Broadway when I was 20 years old. And I have, like, basically constantly worked. I've never really had to struggle. My husband was a drug addict. He lived in his car for a while. He, like, then got himself together, was still struggling with sobriety, went on a crazy road, got a degree, and we live in the exact same house. We have the exact same children. You don't know, so it doesn't really matter, you know? Like, I'm sure his mom wasn't thrilled when he wanted to live in his car for a year because he was, like, into Jack Kerouac, but he did it, and he's fine, and we have the exact same life.
This person asked on Facebook, why was Dax Shepard banned from the Conan O'Brien show in 2004? In an interview on Blake Griffin's The Pursuit of Healthiness podcast, Dax revealed that one time in his alcoholism and drug addiction, it had affected his career to the point where he got banned for a few years from the Conan O'Brien show. Even though the interview was entertaining and the audience didn't realize there was a problem, Conan O'Brien was not happy with Dax's behavior that night. This is what Dax had done. He writes, professionally, the only wreckage I really had when I was an addict was when I went on Conan and I had done the pre-interview in a blackout, and I woke up to the hotel security shaking me awake, and I was with a stranger, and the stranger had peed in the bed, or I had peed in the bed. Someone peed. I had to be on Conan in literally 20 minutes from getting shaken awake by a hotel security guard that my publicist convinced to open the door. And then I show up to the show. I don't know what he's talking about. I can tell that he's queuing me up for stories I've told, but I don't know any of the stories, so I'm just doing what I can to be funny, and I'm a mess. I didn't know any of the stories. I actually broke a coffee table, so I was banned from that show for years until I got sober and I got myself back on it, and now I've been on a bazillion times. Let's take a look at Dax Shepard's feature on the Conan O'Brien show when he was completely out of his mind.
Please welcome Dax Shepard.
Okay, pretty impressive for someone who's just completely blacked out like 20 minutes prior.
That was an incredible commitment. Thank you very much.
You.
Good to see you.
I was sharing a green room with that snake.
Yeah?
And I think it might have been...
You're paying for that table.
I'm going to shake it off.
A new one doesn't just regenerate. All right.
Wait, that was a lot.
I thought that you would have had separate green rooms for the animals, but
No, we're very low budget here.
It was me and a bear and a snake. And...
Because Dax Shepard has been such a hot mess, he's gotten himself into some pretty bad fights. Like this headline reads, Dax Shepard is facing backlash after revealing the identity of a celebrity he almost fought in AA. Well, the point of AA is Alcoholics Anonymous, so you're supposed to keep everyone's identity anonymous, but Dax Shepard violated that. Speaking on his podcast with Brad Pitt as his guest, Dax recalled an anecdote between himself and a fellow actor in which they nearly came to blows. Interestingly enough, the actor even appeared on Dax's podcast last June where they reflected and laughed over the whole thing, despite admitting that they did previously hate one another. The celebrity in question is none other than Grey's Anatomy star Eric Dane. He said, Eric Dane, who I now effing love, I have such a sweetness for him, but when we were around each other, it was not good. He threatened a dude in the meeting, and I said, let's go, mother effer. Dax says that Eric Dane told him, if you hit that timer again, I'm gonna effing throw you in that candle. And then Dax says, I go, that's it, mother effer, let's go. Stand up and let's go outside. He stands up, we go outside. I'm about to beat the F out of him at an AA meeting where we're both coming for healing and understanding. Eventually, they were able to work it out, but it's kind of a bummer that he went and name dropped Eric Dane as the fellow, AA person, because that's probably something he wanted to keep private.
We told the story on the podcast, so I don't mind saying it out loud again, but the actor Eric Dane, who I now love. Yeah. I have such a sweetness for him now.
Yeah. Yeah, we all had a mini group over there.
Oh, yeah, right. He was hosting.
At Eric's.
But when we first were around each other, it was not good. And then he threatened a dude in the meeting. Wow. And I said, let's go, mother. In the middle of the meeting, he goes, if you hit that timer again, I'm going to throw you in that candle.
That's right, the time.
And I go, that's it, mother. Let's go. Stand up. Let's go outside. He stands up. We go outside. And I'm going to beat the out of him in Tom's driveway. And we're coming for healing and understanding. And then, but what's great is we're friends now. We told that story on the podcast. And it's like quite a hilarious beginning for us. Now,
but like I said, Dax Shepard has gotten into his fair share of fights, and we actually have a clip of him talking about some of those stories. Take a look.
So I came home for Christmas, and so all of my friends are gathered at this old apartment, and fucking Reggie walks through the door, and I'm like, I got to tell this dude he can't be here anymore, and none of the other guys are going to tell him. I step over this round table, and I walk up, and I go, Reggie, you can't be in here. And he goes, I can't be in here. And I go, no, man, you got to go. And as I'm saying, nobody fucking caught me. I've never been hit by someone faster. I was chatting, and then I had gone over this, landed with one arm down, and I looked over, and my then girlfriend staring at me. She just watched this guy knock me over a table. And in my mind, I'm like, I want to go to bed right now. And I'm like, everyone's watching, we're going. And I got up and went over the fucking table. And then I got him in a headlock. And then it was hockey punches for 45 seconds. And then everyone had to pull me off. And I just smoked Reggie. And it was a real moment for me when my girlfriend was staring at me. Like, how are you going to play this? And my best friend's over here. And I think that I only like that one because I did not want to go back at Reggie.
Another interesting TikTok we came across was posted by this account, Alexis Nicole Official. She writes in the caption, so Ashton Kutcher is looking at these images and going on FBI raids? What? You guys know Ashton Kutcher has a very sketchy past. His involvement with that murder of the girl he was dating, his connection to the cult and Danny Masterson. So I wanted to include this TikTok because I found it interesting.
I came across the most disturbing conversation between Ashton Kutcher and Dax Shepard on The Armchair Expert about Ashton Kutcher's involvement in WE, which was his organization to catch online adult predators of children.
Oh, yes. Okay, so just to give you guys some context, Ashton Kutcher did have this organization where they were, I think it's called RAIN, is that what yes, and essentially they were to help people who were trafficked and things like that, but eventually had to step down because of his connection to Danny Masterson, and I would assume Diddy as well.
Right now, we're trying to eliminate child pornography from the internet. Okay. And so I've seen some shit that you can't unsee, like nasty, and I've gone on FBI raids. You have? Yeah, and there are two distinct types of individuals that engage in this behavior. And some of them are just lost souls, right? Where they've just, got, at a very young age, they were exposed to this stuff. Right. And then they started to find a sexual interest in this material online, which was readily available, and become obsessed with it. And then they, do a hands-on offense because the only way you can actually get into the chat rooms with the new material is to actually present a new piece of content. Oh, like good faith money in a con. There's that type of person. Yeah. Which I actually have personal empathy for, where I go, man, you're just a person that went down the wrong track. And then you've got the other type of person who actually has a lack of repression, and you go I have less compassion, but at the same time I go, shouldn't we be able to study these human brains and find a way to remedy this. I found myself in a position where I actually have empathy. I've never had to fight the urge to touch a child. Never. I'm not walking around battling that. And I'm aware of how grateful I am that that's not one of the things I have to battle. By the way, I think we can strive for great justice in handling it all and even being severe in that justice, but I also think you could be compassionate towards who would want to be on planet Earth with that desire. Yeah, exactly. I mean, move it over and think about like an urge for alcohol or an urge for drugs and go, that's what I got to deal with.
Oh God, maybe I'm just like too deep into the Epstein files, but it sounds like they're kind of like trying to make these crimes sound less bad, right? They're like, oh, I feel bad for these people who have this urge. It's like, no, lock them up.
Every day. And my urge is to small children. Yeah. Like, the worst thing to live with ever. Oh, I'd rather have any other thing. Literally. Give it to me. Lou Gehrig's. I'll take it. Anything. Is that how you say it? Lou Gehrig's?
Sure, Gehrig's.
Gehrig's?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a terrible. Great. Unbelievable. There was also, Monica, what was the name of the,
And we remember everything that happened with Debate Chase, right? Right?
We've actually made a video about her in the past, and I believe that little girl that was in that photo, and I think that video even got age restricted. So yeah, that's a story that YouTube does not want me to tell again. Dax is a father to 2 children that he shares with Kristen Bell, and he said some really creepy things in the past about his kids. I believe that they're like 10 and 12, or maybe 11 and 13, but at one point on his podcast, he spoke about his children's future intimate lives. He said, I'm not going to love seeing some 25-year-old dude in boxers in my kitchen. Then his guest replied, right, and you're totally entitled to that. Dax said, it's not going to be for me. I'm very pro-sex. I hope that they are very happy and adventurous. His guest asked them, like, then where are they supposed to do it? Also, I would hope at 25 years old that your kid is out of the house, especially if they've got like that, Dax and Kristen Bell privilege. But he responded by saying, in their car, like everyone else did. And the comments did not go down well with his fans. One person said that it was creepy, and I think it's creepy too because his kids are like not even in like teenage age.
Never say to them, when I was your age, I had already blah, blah, and blah. One place where you need to make boundaries and make rules is if they're 30 and they're living at home, instead of scorn, or even if they're 25, college graduates, to say, if you're going to have somebody sleep over, I don't want to be going into the kitchen for coffee and there's a stranger there in the morning. Yeah. So we need to come to an agreement about house rules.
Right. Yeah. I'm not going to love seeing some 25-year-old dude in boxers in my kitchen.
Oh, right. And and you're totally entitled to that.
Yeah. It's not going to be for me. I'm very pro-sex. I hope they're very happy and
Where
adventurous.
are they supposed to have it, Dax?
In their car like everyone else did, I guess. If I listed all the places
Or
I would
leave
go.
out the window like they used to do before Dad and Mom wake up and know.
Exactly right. But now, because of all the little cams everywhere, they leave out the window and there's a record of that.
Another headline I came across, which actually came out this year, says people are weirded out over Dax Shepard telling his 11-year-old daughter that he would pay for her to get her eggs frozen when she turns 18. Why would an 11-year-old have to even think about doing this? Dax told his co-host Monica Padham that they were having a conversation with their kids about having babies. Dax said that I was just telling the girls on our vacation, Delta, one of his daughters, was saying how she can't wait to have a baby, which she's going to do really well, he said, because I guess he sees his 11-year-old playing with stuffed animals. She's literally 11-year-old. What do you mean she's going to be a great mother someday? Dax said that she says she wants to have a baby, and I said, when do you think you'll have your first child? When you turn 18? I want to be supportive of whatever. I don't want to plant any seeds that I'd be judgmental or whatever. Dax noted that Delta firmly said that she doesn't want kids at 18, prompting him to guess that she would have a child between the ages of 35 and 45. So then he said, if you want to, we'll freeze your eggs when you're 18. I'll pay for it so you can get your eggs frozen so you don't have to think about that. Which is, again, so weird. He's already planning his 11-year-old's life. Like, okay, you're going to have kids between 35 and 45. Again, this is something an 11-year-old shouldn't even have to think about.
She's saying she wants to have a baby, and I said, when do you think you'll have your first child? When you turn 18? And she said, what? No, 18. What do you think I really? And I said, my guess is between 35 and 45 is when I think you'll have kids. I said, and I think if you want to, we'll freeze your eggs when you're 18.
Wow,
I'll pay for you to get your eggs frozen so you don't have to think about that.
Yeah. Is it a thoughtful gift to freeze somebody's eggs on their 18th birthday? Or should it be a bit more freeze your own freaking eggs, love?
My first instinct was that I hated this. I worry that if it becomes the status quo or something that
privileged people
do for their children, then it actually reinforces the biological clock sense of urgency. Like it's paradoxically, it says if you're not going to have them at 18, you better freeze your eggs. That would make me panic.
That is such a weird conversation for him to have with his 11-year-old. I feel bad for his daughter Delta because those are thoughts that she shouldn't even be thinking about. But let's go ahead and open up this P.O. Box letter. It's from Vanessa. I'm starting to finally get ahead on some of my letters, and this one's from October 2025, so I'm so sorry. I don't know how it takes a long time for the mail to go through, though. I'm telling you, mail's like not fast. So this is the letter from Vanessa. Thank you. Sloan, thank you for all the work and consistency. You gave me something to look forward to during my postpartum period. It was so dark for me, but you literally became a beacon of light for me. Thank you a million times. I'm not sure I'd be here. Oh, Vanessa. This is such a sweet letter. I will be keeping this forever, like I do all my letters, but this is really special too because, like, postpartum, like, the depression, the darkness can be so real. So the fact that you came to my channel and, like, I was a little distraction is so nice, Vanessa. Thank you so much. Aw, that's so sweet. Well, shout out to Vanessa and shout out to all you guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video and let me know at my email, SloanWellKnown@gmail.com, what you want me to talk about next. Bye, guys.